What up, boys? It's everyone's favorite asshole, the Dean of Rules, and this is your Week 13 recap.
Puffcakes Fantasy Football Recap.
I was really hoping after this week's games things would be more clear, but the playoff picture has only gotten more cloudy. The only one to solidify his position was Child Please with his 2-point win over Puffcakes Fantasy Football Team. With the win, Edgar guarantees himself the first place seed and a first round playoff bye.
I'm the king of the world!
Robert was the victim of the bad weather game in Buffalo Monday night, which caused his team with 4 Buffalo players to come up just short of the win. Robert trailed by 36 points before the game, and in any other week, his combination of Allen, Diggs, and the Buffalo kicker and their defense would have been easy to overcome. With a win, Robert would have locked in a playoff appearance, but unfortunately, the loss puts him in jeopardy of not making the playoffs at all.
You got fucked and you don't even know it, and they didn't buy you dinner either.
6 teams fighting for 5 playoff spots. His low total points puts pressure on him to get a W this week. Even with the loss, he would need wins by Kurt and Sam and Fred to fall to 7th place and miss the playoffs based on points. This week he squares off against our current Shame Gear owner, Kurt. So keep your eyes on that matchup this week, because it'll be a good one. Another team with a shot to guarantee himself a playoff spot, Daddy Shark, couldn't get it done against our COVID-19 year champ, the 2-time champ. With the 3rd highest score this week, the Dean was a proud recipient of the Bad Beat of the Week award, the 140 to 147 loss.
See, now that's some bullshit.
Freddie continues to make a playoff push with strong weekly performances from Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Big matchups this week for both teams. Fred has the 2nd highest points total, so in order to get a first-round bye, he needs a win over Kidd and losses by the Dean and the Puffcakes Fantasy Football Team. Even with the loss, his playoff chances aren't completely out of reach. He would need a loss by 1 and 12 or got more tea than all of you to make the playoffs. For the Dean, his playoff picture is a little bit brighter. With a win and 2 points more than Kidd, he gets a first-round bye. The only way he doesn't make playoffs is with a loss and wins by both 1 and 12 and got more tea than all you, who would need to outscore the Dean by 33 and 43 points respectively. 1 and 12 had a chance to improve his playoff odds in a matchup against Chato, but couldn't get the win. His dismal 103-point performance was no matchup for this week's top scorer, Chato, with 166 points for our biggest blowout of the week. With the win, Chato took himself out of the running for the Shame Gear, so he can rest easy now. Go ahead and take the week off, Chato. Daddy Shark would really appreciate it. Sam gets one final shot to make the playoffs with his matchup against Just Win Maybe this week. A win this week and a loss by Kurt or Fred get him in. If they all win, not getting outscored by Kurt by 11 points will get him in. A loss and a win by Kurt, and he's out. With a 133-128 win in Week 13, oh yeah, over Got More Tea Than All You, virtually locked in his playoff spot. With a win and scoring more points than Daddy Shark or a Daddy Shark loss, he will also get himself a round 1 playoff bye. With a loss, he won't get a bye, but he will still make playoffs based on points. Got More Tea Than All You has a tougher road to the playoffs. He has to win this week to even have a chance. Even with the W, he relies on a loss by Sam or Fred, or if Sam wins, Kurt needs to outscore him by 11 points. Kurt faces the fantasy football team this week in a matchup that will have multiple implications on our playoff picture. In a matchup of fringe playoff hopefuls, Rob Sextall Forever lost to Don't Touch My Chubb 132 to 117. Both teams currently sit at 6 and 7, and both need a lot of help to get to the playoffs. They need losses by Kurt and Sam, and Ryan would also need to outscore Kurt by 25 and Sam by 35. Looks even bleaker for Flip, as he would need to outscore Kurt by 47 and Sam by 57. Not looking too promising for either, to be honest.
The boy has no skills. You schooled by a little girl.
And the matchup you've all been waiting for, the one that was going to decide the Shame Gear this year. Just Win Maybe showed us exactly why he earned himself the Shame Gear. In what could be dubbed the biggest game of his season, Evan put up a sad 93 points to the 129 by You Can't See Me Avenue. And to add insult to injury, he also got himself a Sosa Award. While there's still an outside chance James takes the crown back, it would require a win by Evan and a James loss, and Evan would have to outscore him by 50 points. So not impossible, but not unlikely. The league is currently accepting suggestions for Shame Gear, so go ahead and let us know what Evan should be sporting next year. Reminder, the league meetup is still on for next Sunday for the afternoon games. More details to follow next week. And if I happen to screw up any of the win-loss projections for playoffs, feel free to call me an idiot in the group chat and correct me. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all next week.
Puff Cakes Fantasy Football Recap.